Hundreds of thousands of Russians have left their country fleeing Putin's partial mobilization. Some are leaving for other reasons. In conjunction with the German show Kontraste from the RBB network, DW spoke to a doctor, Maria Dmitrieva. She was loyal to the regime, having spent years working in clinics at the Russian Defence and Interior Ministries and Secret Service. But 2 weeks ago, she decided to flee and apply for asylum in France.
We meet Maria on the Côte d'Azur in the south of France. Just a few years ago, this region was among the favourite places for rich Russians to go on holiday and buy houses. But the war changed everything. Maria Dmitrieva is a doctor. She travelled to Paris via Algeria with only one goal in mind: to apply for asylum. She spent years working in clinics of Russian ministries, most recently the FSB, the Domestic Secret Service.
You spend your life, your best years on your education, on your profession, but your government does not even think about the people. All they are thinking about is themselves. You know, Putin and his entourage are just criminals, bandits, who in all their years in power did nothing good for the people. For what reason did they need to annex territories of other states by the means of illegal referendums and terror threats?
Maria says there's a growing sense of bewilderment and unhappiness among her friends in the Russian secret services about the so-called special military operation in Ukraine. They're wondering about the numbers of deaths among civilians and harbour fears about the rising influence of some figures from Putin's inner circle. She says that even before the war, her patients in the clinic of the Ministry of Defence were complaining of burnout, but nobody dared speak out against the commanders.
But, you know, everyone is scared because every street protest in Moscow is being stopped very quick and very brutal.
DW, in cooperation with RBB Kontraste, has been researching refugees from Russia. We visited the founder of the human rights network Gulagu.net, Vladimir Oseshkin, in the north of France. His mission is to collect eyewitness reports on violence, torture and corruption in Russian prisons. He's been protected by the French police, but we're not allowed to film him with bodyguards. He says in recent weeks, he has been overwhelmed with messages from Russia.
Every single day we are receiving 2-3 letters from the army, from the police, from prison guards, from private military companies. The amount is huge. In previous times, it was a message once in 6 months, and our sources were very cautious about their anonymity. They didn't use their names, they registered email addresses on Proton Mail. Now they are just fleeing.
Oseshkin is helping Maria too. She didn't want to support the war.
I was able to get out to Turkey. It's a visa-free country for Russia. I was able to leave quietly. No one would know where I was. I would get lost and live my life. But with my escape, I wanted to tell the world things are really bad.
Maria says her entire family has left Russia. In France, she's been giving interviews to the big TV stations. She says she wants the world to know that not everyone in Russia supports Putin's politics and his bloody war on Ukraine.
DW's Russia analyst Konstantin Egert is in the Lithuanian capital Vilnius. How probable are these claims made in this report?
Well, Ben, I think they are probable. It's clear that this war is not going the right way for Putin and for his regime, and lots of people inside the regime, pretty much loyal until the very last moments, until recent months, are starting to doubt it. I actually find Maria's story pretty credible, although if I were her, I wouldn't travel via Algeria, which has very good connections to the Kremlin. But yes, I'm certain that there is discontent mounting. And actually, just very recently here in Lithuania, we've seen Putin's goddaughter and the daughter of his, let's say, godfather in politics, the former mayor of St. Petersburg, Anatoly Sobchak, Ksenia, arriving here on an Israeli passport, also running away from Russia. So I think that quite a lot of these people that were pretty loyal until recently are trying to jump ship, and some of them are succeeding.
How is the Kremlin dealing with the growing skepticism over its invasion of Ukraine?
Well, there's not much they can do, but I think that what they basically are going to apply is the old trusted method of pressure and fear. You see, Ben, the Putin regime is based on two basic tools: corruption, i.e. you are allowed to steal until you're loyal, and fear. Fear when you think about becoming disloyal, and repressions may follow. But I suppose that in such situation, when the war is not going the right way, when there is chaos, evidently mounting chaos at the top in the Kremlin, lots of people decide to risk it and jump ship before the ship sinks. That's a classic situation for many authoritarian regimes in history, and I think Putin's is no exception.
Thank you very much for your analysis, Konstantin Eggert.
Thank you.